My dear assembled devotees, I offer my loving regards to all of you. You are all my near and dear spiritual family member. A near and dear family member of Lord Chaitanya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj. I truly appreciate all of your sweet presence today. I know you are all learned devotees. Yet, just to draw all of your attention, I would like to say something about Sankirtan, the mood of Sankirtan. We all know our beloved Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu laid so much stress, laid so much importance on gathering together and engaging, absorbing wonderful devotional kirtana, wonderful Sankirtana, chanting, singing the glories of Supreme Lord, Divine Couple. He laid a special stress on that because it's so beneficial. Sankirtana has been so beneficial throughout all the ages, specifically in Kali Yuga. You know, one of the most prominent aspects of our devotional world, higher divine spiritual world or devotional world divine, is music, songs, music, world of sweet Sabda Brahma. I repeat, is one of the prominent parts, vital parts, aspects to relate to the supreme, beautiful absolute Lord. Therefore we find there have been many Vaishnava poets, great poets, singers, in our higher spiritual world. Find a lot of many of the devotees, great devotees, so great poets, great singers of the devotional songs. Because when sometimes our language doesn't become enough to express our heart's feelings, to express our feelings in depth, complete sense. There, music comes, singing comes. We can express our in-depth feelings of our heart, in-depth feelings of devotion, loving devotion towards the Supreme Lord can be so nicely expressed and more experienced through songs, beautiful chanting and singing and dance. So, therefore Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he specially recommended to engage in Sankirtana. So the quality, the type, the quality of the Krishna Sankirtana introduced by Lord Chaitanya, introduced and established, it is never a casual way, never just dry, casual, formal way, but is so much alive with feelings, higher spiritual feelings, devotional feelings, feelings of dedication, feelings of devotion, dedication love, loving devotion in relation to the divine couple. We offer our loving devotion, love prayers to the Supreme Absolute Lord, Supreme Personality of all pervading absolute divine truth. In other words, divine couple. So I repeat, we offer our devotional feelings, the love feelings of our heart through singing. That is Sankirtan. It's one way of defining Sankirtan. Therefore, it is so alive. It is of alive nature, a living nature filled with feelings, devotional feelings, love feelings in relation to the Supreme Lord. So, therefore, whenever we engage in singing any devotional songs, we all should be consciously motivated. In other words, we should consciously motivate ourselves to be absorbed into feelings. Okay, to get into the feelings, devotional feelings in that devotional song. All the devotional meanings, okay, love feelings found in that devotional song we are engaging in singing. So while we become consciously attuned to be singing a devotional song with that same devotional mood as it contains, okay, and doing that with the spirit of giving enjoyment to Krishna, giving pleasure, okay, offering pleasure to divine couple through my singing, and relishing that. While, in other words, while I'm engaged in singing a devotional song, I repeat, I'm simply engaged in singing a devotional song. It's meant to offer pleasure to that divine he and she, divine couple, for whom I'm singing this devotional song. So, the very mood and motto is to please them. And then, by doing so, being in tune with the mood of pleasing them, then I am also relishing it. Okay? So it's working both together. I am offering this devotional song, all my songs, love songs, to please them, and feeling it in my heart. I am offering everything for their pleasure. And in return, I am also getting pleasure, having the natural taste of that pleasure of pleasing them. Okay, so it works in a relational way, interrelated way, Sankirtana. Not directly, I'm singing these songs for my enjoyment or public enjoyment. Then it becomes karma. But so, the very intention and attunement of singing a devotional song is to devote, is to devotionally please divine couple, Mahaprabhu. And in the way of doing so, I am also taking pleasure. I am also feeling satisfied that I can do that. At least I am trying to do that, to please them. Offering my love feelings, my prayer through this devotional song, composed by pure devotees. So, that relationship, Sambandha Jnanam, while engaging in singing the devotional songs, expected to be there, then it becomes alive Sankirtana. Look into the nature of Krishna Sankirtana introduced by Mahaprabhu. Never casual in any way. is full of joy, full of singing, dancing, rolling on ground, having 8 kinds of devotional love symptoms throughout the whole body. Devotees are hugging, okay, crying, laughing, hugging each other, okay, and having so much bliss, ecstatic experience through that Sankirtana surrounding Mahaprabhu. That is the real, ideal Sankirtana. When we consciously try to be in that mood, in that inner mood, esoteric mood of Sankirtan, it comes. It cannot but be reflecting within us. Conscious effort is required. That is a part of our sadhana. To be engaged, absorbed in the Sankirtana, or alive, live way, feelings, devotional feelings. I know you are all learned devotees, all know about it. But you know there is no end of describing the glories of each and every point of Krishna consciousness, each and everything of Krishna consciousness. So while we repeat, we can re-release it. Many things in our life we repeat. That's how we live our life. We never feel bored about it. Rather, if we don't do repetition, we cannot be maintaining and sustaining our life. Like eating, drinking, sleeping, waking up again, eating, drinking, sleeping, waking up. Many things we repeat in order to maintain and sustain our life, dynamic way. Similarly, sometimes we repeatedly be discussing about the same topics of Krishna consciousness, which is very important in our life. It comes out, it appears in our life with newer and newer meanings. Many times with newer folds of meanings and feelings and realizations. Okay? For our further entunement, harmonious entunement. Instead of feeling, oh, I have heard already, I know already, then we miss so much. Because the very nature, one of the fundamental natures of the vast world of spiritual realization, vast world of divinity, infinite world of Krishna consciousness, is so full of divine mysticism. It's divinely mystical, divinely mysterious. But it can also be so divinely tangible. It can be so ecstatically experienced. Can be experienced so joyfully, wonderfully, beautifully. Because it is of mystical nature doesn't mean all is covered with mystery. We cannot understand, cannot directly relate with it or understand in a very vivid, tangible, enlightened way. It's not that, it is. But at the same time, no matter to whatever extent we understand and we feel, we realize, we relish, still something is beyond, transcendental to it. That is one of the essential natures of the world of Krishna consciousness. No matter how much we realize, how much we relish, how much we experience, still always a vast amount of reality remains as transcendental to that. Okay, covered with mystery, divine, wonderful, beautiful, mystical ways, nature. Therefore, that also increases further our eagerness to discover more. That kind of divine mysteriousness, divine mystical character actually contributes in our life to further our attraction. It inspires us to become more eager, okay, to discover, explore, discover more and more. to the infinite extent, never-ending way, ever dynamic way. That is called Nitya, everlasting, eternal, eternally flowing. So, in this relation, in this connection, I would also like to say, faith is one of the main keys to our success. Success in the life of sadhana. Okay? Krishna conscious life. I'm not talking about blind faith, talking about enlightened faith. Self-effulgent faith. So, an enlightened faith, an enlightened but profound faith beyond all doubts, a great capital, great key to the success in the life of Krishna consciousness. So, it doesn't matter whether we then and there realize everything. It doesn't matter. See, after all we know, we are cultivating our spiritual life. It's not a material life. So things of our spiritual life in the spiritual world cannot always be understood in a material way. It has to be understood spiritual way, higher spirits, higher consciousness. So whether or not, I repeat, whether or not we always directly experience, directly realize each and everything in an objective way in the world of our spiritual practices doesn't matter. It can be experienced subjectively, more spiritually. Although we cannot directly experience everything through sense perception, doesn't matter. There are many things in our many vital truths, many of the vital realities in our being, in our life, don't understand, realize in objective way, but still they work in a subtle way. Everywhere, all around us, they continue to be working. From the world of the scientific inventions, discovery you also find. Before the discovery of electromagnetic wave, radiance, we didn't understand, we did not even believe of such subtle power, potency exists. See, light waves, sound waves, ultrasonic sound, subsonic sound. See, different light frequencies, sound frequencies, electromagnetic frequencies. We cannot directly perceive by our senses. We cannot, I repeat, we cannot directly perceive them. We have to take some help of mechanism to understand them. And they are very much active. Everything is flowing right over here. Light waves, sound waves, light frequency, sound frequency, different types of frequencies and dimensions that we don't directly relate, cannot directly connect with them. But still, they are great realities, very subtle realities in our life, we understand. Self-evident realities. In a similar way, the spiritual world, in the world of our spiritual practices, there are so many subtle realities which work in a very subtle way. And so therefore, all our spirit, whenever we engage, we sincerely engage in our spiritual activities, devotional activities, or all our activities in relation to the Supreme Divine Truth, none of them go in vain. That is the promise of the Lord. They all are fruitful, whether or not we directly connect to them, experience them, perceive them, but still they are working in the background, in a very subtle level, subtle dimension of our life. It is not understood by any blind faith. It is understood, realized by enlightened faith. Therefore, faith has been so much elated, upheld in spiritual world. Enlightened faith I'm talking about. In many cases, our limited intelligence cannot reach. Limited intelligence cannot really, reach the higher truth, cannot reach higher realizations, subtle realizations. Faith can help us to reach that level. Shraddha, Vishwasa. In the symptoms, in the signs of Sharanagati, one of the limbs is faith, deep faith. So anyway, just I'm doing some prelude. If I continue to explain this topic, I will go on and on. Okay, so again, in conclusion of this point, again I say, I'm also speaking from my own realization to whatever extent I could have by their causeless mercy, that whether or not we directly understand many things, many of our spiritual practices in a more objectively tangible way, okay, through our sense perception, sense experience, yet they are working. They do work on the subtle level, on the subjective level, the subjective dimensions of our spirits, higher spirits of our being, the higher subjective dimensions of our consciousness, being, level of soul and super soul. They continue to be working. So they will all be very fruitful and virtuous. Okay? Because they are subtly spiritual things. So when we become in tune, we can be properly in tune spiritually. In other words, we can be spiritually in tuned more on the subjectively, in connection with the subjective dimension of our experience. Then we can realize, we can receive some realization of those, that whatever spiritual engagement activity I engaged in, nothing went in vain. They all are accumulating. They all are accumulating, although gradual way, through gradual process, great virtues and values, spiritual values in my life. I am getting rich and rich through such spiritual activities, whether or not I directly connect them, directly understand them or realize them, just going by faith. Sometimes questions appear in our mind. I am going by faith, I have been practicing for many, many years, nothing is happening. So I am not sure whether I am making advancement or not. It's a common question. The reality is that when one is engaged, when one is sincerely engaged in doing any service to the Supreme Lord, chanting, singing His glories, propagating His glories, engaging in devotional service, doing anything truthfully, with all sincerity, and with some devotional endeavor, whether we are able or not, whether we are able to be devoted or not, but still that effort is there. Sincere endeavor is there to devote, to do things devotionally, offer to Lord some devotional service. None of them will go in vain. They all bring virtuous results in our life. This is truth. So therefore there is no question, there is no real ground of having doubt in this or thinking nothing is happening in my life, all are just going in vain, I am following a path of blind faith, I don't feel anything. Don't you worry. All happening in a right way. Everything, you are accumulating sukriti, When the time will arrive, it will all come to a great help. Then you can have more tangible experience and realization of them, how much you have accumulated, spiritual capitals. It's like tuning different radio stations or TV frequencies. If you are not able to tune properly, you don't catch it. When you can exactly tune those wavelength and frequency, then you can hear sounds, radio sounds, watch TV. Okay. Attunement is required. So, but whether or not I am able to tune properly right now doesn't mean that radio stations are not going on. TV frequency, radio frequency, light frequency, sound frequency are not there. They are all there. They are realities. But I am not able to tune properly, harmoniously. Therefore, I cannot discover. But it's happening. They are all truth, realities of different dimensions. I need to tune up properly. All I need to tune properly through higher dimensions, higher spiritual dimensions. That's why Srila Guru Maharaj explained a lot about objective level of experience and subjective level of experience. And then super subjective level of experience, super subjective dimensions of the divine experiences. After all, we are dealing with the world divine, means world infinite. Infinite divine world. Everything is full of wonders and wonders with transcendental characteristics. How can we expect very quickly, very soon, just in a casual, normal way, we'll be able to connect it, realize it? It's not always possible. Sometimes it can be possible by the help of some causeless mercy, special grace, special grant of mercy in our sadhana. It can be possible. Otherwise, normally, we have to be waiting with deep faith, truthful faith, enlightened faith, knowing it's all working. Ultimately, it's all working in my favor. Whatever spiritual practices I am engaging in, cultivating in my life, nothing going in vain. All working in my favor, accumulating sukriti for me, higher virtues. But provided they have to be done with sincerity, then it works. All the spiritual practices must be done with truthfulness, sincerity, with heart. Not like acting, not dramatic acting or making a show. Okay, but it has to be done with sincerity. Truthful ways. One has to be honest to one's own self. We all need to be true to our own selves in all kinds of spiritual practices, devotional practices, then it works. See, I don't know. I just spontaneously felt like speaking this way.